Colorado ski towns are getting upgraded in real time, not new carpet in the lobby type upgrades. I'm talking new luxury flagships, new base villages, and big projects that change what the town feels like and who it attracts. So here's the question. When you picture your legacy mountain place, do you want to be right in the middle of new, walk to everything, full resort lifestyle, or do you want to be close enough to benefit from it, but far enough to keep the privacy and not live inside of the action? Because that decision is going to matter more over the next few years than it has in a long time. All right, Keystone first, because Kindred is one of the biggest vibe shifts we've seen in Summit County in quite some time. And it's being positioned as the premier luxury ski in, ski out product for Keystone. It's really ski in and walk out to the gondola, but I mean, you're literally like 100 steps from the building to the gondola, literally unlike anything we've seen in Summit County. They're even taking reservations starting May 7th, 2026. So this isn't a maybe someday concept anymore. This is happening. Kindred is one of those projects that instantly pulls Keystone into a different conversation because it creates a true luxury anchor at the base area instead of just a collection of random condos and restaurants. And I'm gonna keep this simple. I had a chance to be there for a soft opening with our internal team, and you could feel the difference immediately. Service level was higher, food felt dialed, even something as basic as breakfast had that they're not messing around type energy. Now, the lifestyle impact for buyers is pretty obvious. If your family wants Keystone because it's approachable and great for kids, but you also want a more elevated base experience, Kindred is going to give you that. It's the difference between we stayed here near the mountain and we stayed in the mountain experience. The trade-off, and I always say this because people forget it, is that buying into new development also means living through new development timeline. Construction impacts, more activity, more people, a different energy at the base area. Some buyers love it. Some buyers are like, I want Keystone, but I want it quieter. That's why the in it versus near it question matters. Now, let's go to Breckenridge. The finale master plan and the Imperial branded stuff at Peak 8 is the kind of development that changes the ceiling for Breckenridge. Imperial is being marketed as this final major slopeside moment with a giant amenity ecosystem. Spa, recovery grotto, indoor-outdoor water experience, steakhouse, speakeasy, fitness, even the glass igloo-style alpine domes meant for stargazing at night. I mean, where do you see that, right? That's not typical Summit County. That's world-class destination luxury being built into the fabric of Breckenridge. And then you have the founder level incentives that have been getting people talking. There are offerings tied to that Peak 8 development where early buyers receive 2 lifetime epic passes. They're valid for up to 60 years, depending on the specific product and terms. That's a big deal because if you're a serious ski family, that's not a cute perk. That's real value over time. And it also tells you how aggressive the developer is about attracting the right early buyers. Now, here's what this means for lifestyle, because that's the whole point. Peak 8 has always been a big deal, but projects like this turn Peak 8 into something closer to the full resort village model people associate with higher tier destinations. But if you're the buyer who fell in love with Breck because it's still a real town, more laid back, more community oriented, the way you shop might shift a little. And one more thing people don't always consider, developments like this are also expectation setters. They raise the bar. That's great if you own in the right pockets. It can also make older inventory feel dated faster if it's not maintained or updated. So if you already own in Breckenridge, you're buying resale, this is where you want to be thoughtful about how your property will compete in the next decade. All right, let's jump into Winter Park, because Winter Park's big story isn't just condos, it's connectivity. Connect Winter Park is a proposed gondola concept linking downtown Winter Park to the resort, positioned as a public transportation system connecting the rail platform at the resort to downtown. If you're a buyer thinking, I want to use my home a lot, this is going to matter big time, because Winter Park is already popular because it's relatively easy from Denver. But the biggest pain point is still the same. parking, base area congestion, and the separation between town life and resort life. If you actually connect downtown and the resort in a simple, reliable way, you change how people use the ski area. More will just pop up for the weekend. And that type of ease tends to build demand because it makes the second home lifestyle feel that much simpler. Now, Steamboat. Steamboat is in the middle of a legitimate transformation, and it's been happening in phases. You've got the resort's full steam ahead improvements that have already changed the base area feel, and they've also been working through longer-term master plan concepts tied to terrain and experience upgrades. But the big headline-grabbing luxury buyer moment is the Stockman Auberge collection. If I'm saying that right, the press release describes it as a 9-story project at the base of Steamboat Resort, private residences breaking ground in 2026 and targeting 2030 for debut. That's the type of product that pulls in a different buyer, people who want consistent service, high-level design, wellness, dining, concierge, and the ability to lock and leave without the mental load. Lifestyle-wise, Steamboat is already a strong town because it feels like a real town. Great summers, great community, more year-round livability than some smaller resort towns. Adding a high-end branded resort and residences at the base area doesn't change Steamboat's soul overnight, but it creates an option for buyers who want Steamboat's vibe but want the ownership experience to feel more like a luxury hotel when they arrive. Crested Butte is a totally different personality, but is also going through a base area upgrade moment as well. The Elevation Hotel and Spa is moving toward a major renovation and rebrand into the Beckwith. And local reporting has described a major construction timeline and a 1-year closure to accommodate renovations. That's significant because Crested Butte has historically been more quirky, more authentic, less polished, and a major hospitality upgrade at the base area can raise the perceived tier of the destination for certain buyers. Now, I want to say this carefully because Crested Butte people can be protective about Crested Butte. And I get it. I love Crested Butte. I think it's super cool. This doesn't mean Crested Butte is turning into Vail, right? It's not. But it does mean the base area experience is going to feel a little more elevated, and that matters for legacy buyers who love CB's vibe but still want a nicer arrival, nicer amenities, ski valet type convenience, and more of that effortless feeling. Telluride is the heavyweight headline because Four Seasons is a big deal anywhere. And in Telluride, it's an even bigger deal because the market is so constrained and so unique. Four Seasons has announced a Four Seasons resort and residences Telluride in Mountain Village with a stated opening target of 2027. When a Four Seasons flag arrives, it raises global awareness. It attracts a completely different buyer profile and it changes what luxury baseline looks like. From a lifestyle angle, Telluride already has that "this feels special" factor. For any of you who've been to Telluride, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Cue the mountain photo right here. The scenery is unreal. The town has personality, and it still manages to feel like a real place. The Four Seasons project will amplify the luxury lane. More service, more high-end residential product, more global visibility. That's good if you want Telluride, but you want a full-service ownership experience. It's also something to consider if you love Telluride because it feels less corporate than other destinations. Now, Vail. Vail is already the global resort town, but West Lions Head is one of those projects that can meaningfully change the experience. There's an announced partnership between the town of Vail, Vail Resorts, and East-West partners to develop West Lions Head into a 4th base village concept. What does that mean for you as a buyer? It means Vail is still investing in the base village lifestyle, which is basically the most valuable lifestyle in ski towns. And if you own nearby already, you want to be aware of both sides. The benefit of more amenities and the reality of construction, increased activity, and long planning timelines. Now, let's ship to the big dog, the Lift 1 corridor. The Lift 1 corridor redevelopment is one of the biggest base area moves Aspen has made in an incredibly long time. The city describes it as a redevelopment, including a new telemix lift, mix of chairs and gondola cabins, bringing the base area and skier return closer to downtown. There's also been reporting describing it as a major base area hub With hotel and residences components, Aspen is one of those places where development doesn't happen casually. It's slow, it's complicated, and it matters. You have to go through tons of feasibility studies, environmental impact studies, all of these different things to ensure that this project can actually be feasible. The lifestyle impact is that Aspen is continuing to lean into the walkable base area close to town experience, which is arguably the best version of town living if you can afford it. That's a big deal for legacy buyers who want to be able to use the home constantly and host people easily. Now, Beaver Creek and Vail Valley. Beaver Creek tends to do quiet luxury, so the changes aren't always loud, but there are still meaningful high-end projects. Arcadian on Beaver Creek is one of the notable new residential offerings inside the gates. Limited number of residences, creekside positioning, and a very calm, private, high-end feel. That's classic Beaver Creek. It's less about being in the mix and more about being taken care of in a quieter way. And then Avon matters too, because Avon is basically the gateway to Beaver Creek for a lot of people. Front Gate Avon has been one of the larger, long-running development stories in the valley. Avon development matters because it affects year-round livability. Restaurants, services, housing stock, and the do we have enough stuff open when it's not peak season question that second homeowners always ask. Now, let me put this all together into how I would actually use this info as a buyer. Because if I'm you watching this, you're probably thinking, okay, cool, but how does this help me pick where to buy? Here's the honest answer. Development changes towns in 3 ways. And if you're buying a legacy place, you want to think through all 3. First, it changes your day-to-day friction. Base villages, easier arrivals, easier skiing, easier dining, easier hosting. If you're flying in for long weekends, that matters a lot. If you're bringing kids and grandparents, that matters a lot. If you're hosting friends who aren't mountain people, that matters a lot. The more friction you remove, the more the home gets used. And usage is what turns a second home into a legacy home. Second, it changes the buyer pool. A 4 Seasons or a major new base village brings in people who might not have been looking at that town before. That can lift demand, lift awareness, and in some cases, lift surrounding values, especially in the pockets that benefit most from the new amenities. Third, it changes the feel of the town. And this is the one you can't spreadsheet your way out of. Some buyers want the upgraded, polished, full service experience. Other buyers specifically want a town that still feels a little raw, a little local, a little less curated. Development can enhance a place without ruining it, but it can also shift it. So your job as a buyer is to decide what you're actually buying, the house or the lifestyle direction the town is heading. Now, I'll say this because it's real. If you buy into or near major development, you should be okay with construction timelines. Noise, detours, cranes, dust trucks. It's temporary, but it's real. So that's part of the decision. Counties and towns are constantly issuing change orders and ensuring that projects are going exactly the way that they want them to go. And if general contractors aren't on top of crews and ensuring that things are going according to plan, all of these change orders and these new permits can end up slowing down things so much that you'll end up having a grand opening that's delayed for over a year. So just want to set that expectation up front because it certainly is real. So if you're serious about any of these towns and you want to talk through which developments matter, which ones are noise, and which neighborhoods benefit versus get impacted, call, text, or email me and we'll talk about that lifestyle aspect first. How do you travel? How do you ski? How do you host? How often are you going to use the home? And then we'll map that to the towns and the pockets that actually fit. Because the goal isn't just buying a beautiful place, the goal is buying a place you and your family are gonna actually use and love for the next 30 years. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.